Everything worked today.
Yeah, right.
No issues. I turned the whole studio on.
Before?
Yeah, at like 6:15 because I could not, mentally, I could not handle another fuck up.
Good man.
I couldn't. Power and speed.
We are Power and Speed. 908-751-0211. If you pussies want to call in, nobody ever call. I'm not even going to say it anymore.
Well, Scott Clark called.
Oh, yeah, he did.
The Circle Track guy called. You know, remember I had the terrible phone with the air hose in the background?
He was at work.
I got to shut up then.
We're getting better.
What do we got, Tad?
Well, you got to like us on Facebook and iTunes.
Right, we do.
Now, you know, some guy just got me because he called already and I didn't have the phone system open in the browser.
And he was like, you guys suck?
Yeah, probably.
Jesus.
So I'm logging in right now.
We're getting haters already?
Sorry about the phone system. So we got some shit to talk about, specifically about what you did this weekend, Mike.
What? I'm taking part in our political process.
I know you are.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, I agree.
I like to think of it further as know your enemy. But,
no doubt, and we know.
Well, if anybody saw our text chats, all night you're going off about it,
Thank God they don't see our text chats, Ted.
I'm a little obsessed.
A little?
I'd be more afraid of what they see from him.
God.
Please.
No, I went to the Bernie Sanders rally. I did.
You felt the burn?
Well, yeah.
How many people were there? They said there was going to be like 8,000 and there was like 12, right? 12, like 1, 2.
First, I want to say that I have not been to Rutgers, the university, the campus, in a very long time. I mean, it's probably been, maybe 20 years since. I mean, I've driven past it.
It's quite different now.
Yeah, so I see the stadium went up. That's retarded.
Yep.
But this was at the RAC.
The RAC.
Rutgers Athletic Center.
Yep.
And, I figured, just take a ride. Screw it. So I drove down there.
Tell them what you did. You were going there with shoe polish in your truck, and you were going to write all kind of Trump stuff on your truck.
I couldn't do that because
and incite hate.
No, because see that side, they are a little more violent than the GOP side.
Yeah.
Like I look at the protesters like beating people up. I didn't want to get beat up. I ain't afraid of one of them sissies one-on-one. I'll rip their gauges out of their ears. That's it. They're done. But there's no chance that I wanted to face a mob.
and they're all ugly.
Strange.
Like the women are awful.
Like Alan asked me, he's like, well, did you get out of the truck and go inside? I said, no. He's like, why? I said, I didn't fit in. They're like, how come? I said, I took a shower today. I said, there's a bunch of weird people there. But the paper reported there were like 8,000 people there. No, not a chance, dude. I know what 8,000 people worth of cars would look like.
And there was like 60.
Unless they all took mass transit because they...
that's a possibility. It's free.
Or they walked.
Maybe.
Hey, we got a caller on, and we really can't talk about Bernie too long because I'll get
we'll both get mad.
Physically ill.
No, I encourage everyone, no matter what side you're on, take part in the process.
Yeah, that's true. Get out and vote.
This is an amazing election. It really is. This
is.
This is something that we would never see again.
I'm voting for me.
What, you going to write in? T-Res?
Yeah, why not? The hell.
All right, let's see. This might be the PA guy that had a terrible... Okay, hang on.
Speak.
Yo.
What's up?
What's going on, guys?
We're doing a podcast.
Semi-live.
What are you doing?
Right now I actually have off today because I had a kid last week. So
nice. First one?
I'm cooking on the grill. Second one.
Okay. All right. So you had a kid and you're cooking on a grill, and that's what we're talking about on our car show.
I think he's a Circle Track guy.
He is.
Yes.
Yes.
That I am.
Fucking hillbilly.
Sorry about that. I was at work when I called you, and I have a massive air. I was standing near a huge, like an air filtration system, so that's what you guys were hearing the whole time.
Gotcha. No, it's no big deal. Look, we appreciate you calling in. It's
what
good.
are you grilling? Because I'm starving.
Right now I'm doing up potatoes, and then I got sausage and all kind of...
Oh, Mike likes sausage.
Hot dogs.
Come on, dude. Really?
Well, gentleman sausage.
Dick.
I had to be the first one to say it because one of you was going to say it.
So I know this guy had said, more Circle Track stories, and I was thinking about this today, and I know the one I got to tell. And we had touched on the Facebook page. And Tom is going to know immediately what I'm referring to when I say Crowler with an L.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So this is going back, what was it, 2002?
Yep, a little bit.
Somewhere around there.
Almost 15 years.
The cost of big block modified racing was getting out of control, to say the least.
Yep.
It was something that people were having a really hard time affording. So I talked with Tom and with a bunch of other manufacturers, we put together a spec motor package that was actually a really good package. It fit within the rules. The racetrack didn't have to make any adjustments to allow the motor to compete because it made decent power. It was a really nice fitting.
Yeah, it was a really good piece.
Yeah. It went as far as we both went to Syracuse to go meet with the higher ups of Dirt.
Yep.
And
the Brain Trust.
Yeah, the Brain Trust, who basically looked at us and said, well, how much money do we get?
Right.
Here we are trying to put, cars in, and that's what they wanted to do.
Do you remember that cat? What was his name? Deanie?
No, Bob Deanie was gone by then. We talked to Martin Willis, who was the tech guy, the South African accent guy.
Yeah, well, neither one of them had a brain.
No.
Not a working one, anyway.
So one of the places that we had talked about this engine program was at New Egypt.
Yep.
And there was a bunch of people, that were asking questions about the motor.
Yep.
And a guy says, well, what kind of crank are you using? And we said a Cowley's, name brand crank.
Yep.
And the guy looks right at us and goes, well, I don't want nothing to do with it if you can't use a Crowler. That's all I use.
Oh, God.
Tom looks at me and goes, look, anybody that puts an extra consonant in that word, I got to walk away. And he turned around and walked away.
That's true.
But so when I pick on the circle track guys about being goofy and strange, that's kind of
it's warranted. Yeah, and there's way more stories than that.
You're doing it out of experience. You're doing it out of experience. The thing that I don't like is in the dirt track racing, like around here, like at Big Diamond and stuff like that, they're still using the older, the traditional small block, small block Ford, small block Chevy, small block Mopar. It's mostly small block Chevy, of course, but they're still using the old traditional. Now,
I got to interrupt. Sorry. Time out 1 second. What was your name again?
Rich Mogul.
All right, Rich, hang on 1 second. I got to show Mike a picture because this is what we're up against. When our first guest tonight is Marco Passante, Magnus Motorsports, and he's just special. And he just sent me that. My old picture in the Manley catalog. they say
I remember that.
Yeah,
Where did he get that from?
From an old catalog, and he swears he's going to get me with it. I really don't care, but I think he calls it Magnum PI. So I'm a dead man. I am legitimately a dead man for asking this guy on the show. All right, sorry, Rich. Go talk about hillbillies.
They still run in the old traditional small blocks. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because it's been proven that you can crank out some really good numbers with it. I mean, they've been doing it forever, but that's kind of the problem. They don't want to make the rule changes if there needs to be to bring in the newer stuff. Because let's be honest, getting a 4-bolt main small block Chevy for dirt racing, getting just the block is not getting any easier compared to before.
Well, that's what drove a lot of this, because like when a lot of the 2-barrel classes and lower classes were starting, you could use any GM produced factory production cast iron head. But then all of a sudden, all the 461X heads, they were gone.
I have not, on a high tech note, I have not heard the phrase 4-bolt main in, I don't even remember how many years.
Well, that's because
I know, I remember it.
Yeah.
You get 2 bolts and splay them, and I remember all that shit, but I just haven't heard somebody say that.
Well, it's because, like he said, most things are drying up. You can't go to a junkyard anymore. If you wanted to find it, go find a Mark IV big block in a junkyard. Forget it. You have to go to some junkyard that time forgot. Like something you'd find on Tad's Barn Find Nation page. Yeah. It's the only way you'd find it.
Yep.
And like my buddy Colt Harris, when he starts doing his stuff, when he was getting ready to throw his stuff together, like a lot of his stuff is used, or it's bought through people that he knows through racing, or you have to buy stuff new. And that's how do you become, like, especially at a small dirt track like Big Diamond or Grandview, how do you keep it on a somewhat budget, even though it's kind of not budget anymore, but how do you keep things on a budget with that when you have to buy a block from GM, and you have to buy you can't just, everything's cataloged now, so you can't just go how they used to do and just go pick it up out of the junkyard or go find one that was used that needs to be redone, like, redo the cylinders.
No, and you're completely right. Like back in the old days, your pappies who race the circle track stuff, they could go out and they could get an old truck chassis and an international front end and go out there and
did you say pappies?
Yeah, because that's what they'd say.
And you put a 292 cam in
I'm
there.
just being a circle track guy.
Jesus.
So they would do this stuff, but now it's so technologically advanced. But here's the problem. Technology will always drive the cost of any form of motorsports up. Now, if you want to say, well, look, now there's available LS series motors. Well, you know what there isn't? Tech guys with enough of a brain to check this stuff. They don't know what they're looking at. A lot of them are older. A lot of them do it for free.
They start crying.
They get all flustered. I mean, I jammed up the tech guy probably on 7 occasions because he didn't want to look stupid. And I said, well, of course that's okay. Oh, yep, yeah, that's all right. You can, and I don't mean offense to the tech guys, but to ask
them. But they're just dumb.
Yeah, to ask them to look at even more stuff.
Was that offensive?
No, a little bit. You didn't say the R word.
No, true. Well, do you remember what Wayne at CMS did to them, the guy in Pennsylvania?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Bolts LS heads, any production head. So he bolts LS heads on a standard block, did all the work, and he was like 70 horsepower better than everybody else.
Fantastic.
It was great.
I applaud that guy because that is what you do.
Hell yeah.
That's reading the rules.
And that's how you're going to advance the dirt racing. It's not like, don't get me wrong, like sprint cars, there's so much technology and so much engineering that goes into the engine that goes into like a 410 sprint car versus a 358 modified that's kind of sort of supposed to be on a budget. I mean, you're not going to make the power that a 410 sprint does because you just don't have the parts.
No, and I agree. And not only that, the 410 sprint stuff's expensive. Yeah. And I'll go on record and saying I hate sprint cars.
Yeah, they're stupid.
All right, buddy, we got to let you go. Our guest is on hold for the evening.
All right, have fun, guys.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate the call.
All right, no problem.
All right, so we got to set this guy up a little bit.
I guess so. And unfortunately, I don't mean any offense to the 4G63 crowd. I mean, everything I ever worked on had 4 cylinders, on each side.
On both sides, yeah.
And 4 bolts?
Yeah, 4 bolts and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Marco is well known by a lot of people as we see our Facebook page blowing up. And he is pretty much certified crazy. So this should be a good time.
Yeah, you said it. You said the guy's a little.
He's funny.
Well, I poke him a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he'll poke you.
Just remember, there's no censorship here. I mean,
he knows.
Yeah, nobody's going to come turn us off, or we're not going to have the no politically correct police knocking on my front door, hanging a sign.
Well, you could ask him about any subjects like that you could think of, and he's probably got answers.
Okay, awesome.
Just be careful.
All right, I'm bringing him in.
Yep.
Marco, you there?
Hello. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Oh my God. What's up, bud?
Is that you? Hi, Tom.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Tom took great pleasure in
ask you.
Tom took great pleasure in showing me the picture you found of him. That's awesome because I guarantee you, out in the old filing cabinet from the old shop, I probably have like some of the very first Manley catalogs from when you went to work there.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet I do.
Yeah. Well, that's the picture.
Nice.
And he saved it.
That's a handsome mustache he's sporting.
Oh my God. My God. Magnum PI.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It's crazy. So, we talked when I was driving up here, and we got a lot of shit to go over. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind, sir.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well,
in the beginning,
you have to get in the beginning. You have to get me warmed up. You have to get me riled up because I don't normally like to blow my own horn, and now you've got me on a show where you're asking me basically to talk about myself.
Well, dude, I mean, there's so much in your bag of tricks with regard to working on cars and creating parts and creating like magic for the Mitsu and let's talk about that. Like, talk about what was your first product that you manufactured up there?
Oh, well, that's our intake manifold.
Okay, so, there you go.
So that's got to be like, 1998 or so, I think it was.
Oh, by the way, can I just say something? I'll get you warmed up. Yeah. So we post the link of what you did, Mike.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Marco texted me back. He's like, "Yo, you got a typo. It's It's 20 years. It's not 15.
I will go on record. I will go on record that that's the information that was given to me by Tom.
No, yeah,
So
I know.
just to further put him in the barrel.
No,
That's fine.
but I'm not in the barrel because I said, dude, that's what's on your website. And he's like, shit, I should fix that. And so he texts me back. He's like, all right, I guess I better fix that. All right, so go ahead. I'm sure I'll pay for that. But so, yeah, your intake manifold has been copied by every person on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so badass.
Try. But we still do. We still take people's intake manifolds, and once in a while, like a guy who has one on his car, will come in, and then I'll say, hey, listen, man, I'll set you up with one of my intake manifolds so I can get that other one off the market, right? And I'll set you up with my intake manifold, and I'll run a bet with them, and I'll say, I'll put it on the dyno. I'll guarantee you that mine will make 20 or 25 more than that other guy's, right? And so we'll put it on the dyno, we'll strap it to the dyno, and then if I win, he has to pay full pop for the intake manifold. If I lose, then he's got to. If I lose, then he has to pay a discounted price for the intake manifold. You get it?
Got it. Hey,
yeah. Like they've been copied, they've been duplicated, but man, on those 4-cylinder Evo and Mitsubishi ones, those Mitsubishi intake manifolds, nobody's got our number on that one. A thing I could stand behind.
Hey, Marco, we got a caller, and I think he might want to talk to you. I think
perfect.
His name is Somerton.
Is this like This Is Your Life?
His name is Somerton. Oh, did he hang up?
Somerton.
Shit. He hung up. Yeah, I think it was Don Somerton from Accelerated. You know him. Don't you know him?
Right on. I don't know. Do I?
Yeah, he's a 2J guy. It's just a 4G with two more cylinders.
Yeah. 2 more cylinders. But that's 2J is the big boy stuff,
Oh, yeah.
I don't get to work on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, we could go since you said the word big boy, we could talk about the fastest GTR on Earth that you're on the team.
Yeah, I'm on the team. That was a good time, I'll tell you.
So talk.
Now that's the one that's on Facebook. How do you say it?
E-Canoe.
E-Canoe. I'm not very good at pronunciations that are native to me.
Familiar with E-Canoe racing?
Well,
you're not familiar with E-Canoe racing?
He's a Chevy guy. He's a dirt track. We were just talking to a dirt track guy. That's Mike's wheelhouse.
4-bowl mains.
I don't know about that.
I heard.
Yeah.
Well,
we can make fun of him in a little bit.
Well, okay, we'll get back to that shortly. Let me tell you about E-Canoe racing. So, how did I get involved? Let's just go there. So my friend Wayne Potts, who was tuning the GTR and setting it all up for the team over there for EK. And let's just tell you, they just built that car like a couple of months ago.
Yep.
Right? So from scratch.
Yep.
So he could not attend anymore. We work closely together, and we're good friends. And he said, "Please go down there and sort this out." And I'm like, "Oh man, I got to leave for like." And so what they were doing was they're going to have 2 rounds of competition. So because they first of all, let me tell you about Bahrain. Bahrain is crazy for drag racing and cars, which I'm sure you know, Tom. Right?
Yep, I've been there. Yep.
So I've never seen. Man, you've seen that track, right?
Yes, been there. It's insane.
Amazing racetrack, right? And good people, man. Amazing people.
Yeah. Yep.
But what just a great place to go if you want to go racing. So so I got set up to go down there, and I went there and I did a couple of things on the car, and then I tickled the keys, and we smashed all the world records.
And he, when I was driving up here talking to him, he was really humble. He was like, it's a big team effort, and it is. It's a big team effort, and it just so happened that I got involved in the end, and the car went real fast. And I was like, dude, you can't say it like that. You got to say, hey, it's a team effort.
Well, at least nobody heard that.
No,
that's good.
Well, I'm going to say it now. I said you should have said, it's a team effort, and and they were doing really well, and then I showed up, and everything went really fast. I mean,
I wish it was like that.
I know that. I mean, I know the people he works with on that car, and the names it's insane. Potts used to work. He worked with Tony, right?
Yeah, that's right. He used to work with Tony, right?
And
then he worked with F Performance in Dubai, and then now he's on his own. He's a fantastic tuner. He's a genius, really, right? And
Shane T's involved, who is also a super genius.
And that guy's so fucking cool. That's all I gotta say. That guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
he's so cool. Working with those guys, and Tony was involved with the engines, so the engines were all like tip top shape.
Yep.
EK, Ibrahim, who's the owner of the team, of course, we all know he is such a passionate individual and so into racing. I'm telling you, that guy is a legend, and he is going to be an icon in the very near future.
I think he is an icon. I think he is. He's worldwide.
Yeah,
he really is.
I can compare him to like Jay Leno, because that's he just loves his cars, and he's a real collector, and he's a real enthusiast about cars.
Yep, no doubt.
And
hey, and regarding the engine, the engine package, you know what kind of internal parts are in that thing, right?
Pardon me?
You know whose internal engine parts are in there, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know there's some Manley parts in that.
That's right.
I could feel the Manley parts.
That's right, buddy. That's right. We're pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
They ain't sending us a check yet, are they?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they should.
Just checking.
All right.
You and your free plugs,
All right.
giving it all away.
Yeah, when you touch that motor while it's running, you can like in my bathing suit area, there's like movement.
Oh God. Yeah. So I mean, that was a big deal. The thing went 720 at 100 million miles an hour, and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's people trying hard to
fast.
do that.
Now, what kind of chassis is that in? Would that be class?
It's a completely stock chassis.
Okay.
This is what people don't understand. So it's a stock chassis, and see, this is kind of the way import racing's kind of been, and how it's always been since the beginning, since when I started, 20 years ago racing. It was always like you take a Honda Civic, for instance, right? And then you build up the motor, but you use all of the original drivetrain components, and then you're doing something original that nobody else has done. So that's kind of the way that import guys look at drag racing. Not all of them, but some of them, right? So the GTR community is kind of like that for the R35, because it's got its roots as a street car, right? So, you keep it as close to a street car as possible, which it is pretty much a street car, because we were cruising down the street with it over in Bahrain.
Oh, jeez.
To the alignment shop, went to go get gas, come back, right? So
It's crazy. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got a cage. It's got a full cage and everything in it, but it looks exactly like a street car from the outside. And so guys can relate to that. So when a guy comes in, he says, I got an R35 GTR, right? And then you say, hey, look, yeah, we just were involved with this one, and it's the fastest one in the world. That gives you a whole lot of street cred with that individual.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
And
So
those particular, and you see, and I said to Tom, I said, look, I know this guy has a huge following. I know he's really big in the markets he serves. Unfortunately, I left the engine building side of things kind of right when Manley was getting into imports.
Yeah.
So Tom and I never really talked about it, so I don't know a lot of this stuff, but he was telling me, he's like, look, if you were going to buy a new car that you wanted to mess with, that like a lot of the foundation is there, he says GTR.
Oh, it's crazy.
yeah. Oh yeah, the technology in new cars is out of control these days.
And the GTR in particular, I mean, you have 1,000 horsepower GTR right now, and you're kind of a joke.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you got 1,000.
But you
There's
see,
nothing.
what
Like,
I
everybody's got 1,000.
But you see, what I remember about all the imports is like the stuff that like Tad's gone through. Like, he's got these axles, he's got this, he's got that. He needed a different clutch. Now his trans blew up. He needs this, because you're asking the stock stuff to do so much more than it was ever designed to.
Yeah, but the American stuff was the same way back in the day. Everybody broke everything, and it just
once he's broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Japanese stuff.
outnumbered.
The Japanese stuff is way better from jump. Like you get a 2J Supra.
Mhm.
I mean, you could make 1,000 with a stock engine
On a completely stock engine.
Yeah. Am I lying?
100%. 1,000 horsepower on a stock motor, no problem on a 2J.
I mean, what can you make on a
You want to hear something crazier? I've made 700 horsepower out of a bone stock
4G?
6.3
Yep.
with the stock gasket.
Yep.
That's a four-banger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Believe it.
That is pretty stupid.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And for all the
And all the stuff out of the 80s from Japan was severely overbuilt, because in the 80s they weren't building engines using all the CAD and FEA software they're using today. So they're like, let's just make it strong because it's making a lot of power. So back then 200 horsepower was a lot of power. So you go pull a rod out of an early 46.3 motor, and this thing is like a beast.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And this thing it'll take 150 horsepower each rod.
Isn't it crazy?
And it's funny that he mentions that. I remember, you always remember certain things stick with you over the years.
Yep.
A friend of mine and Tad's, and I think you met him a few times, he passed away, is Danny Silvestri, owned a motorcycle shop, Action Machines. I remember when we were messing with my CBR, and back then it was a Hurricane. He's like, you'll never break anything in this thing. He's like, they're so overbuilt, it's stupid. He's like, because they just don't ever want anything to break. He's like, so, because they were doing things, putting turbos on me. So the Japanese stuff is really over-engineered.
Yeah, they are.
And I never realized that, and I certainly didn't realize it held true going into the car stuff.
Yeah, definitely does.
Oh, yeah. Well, then what happened is then you'll see if you start taking apart later model motors. So it goes into you start going into the later 90s when, they started using CAD software and FEA software to design these engines. They're realizing that, hey, man, you know what? We got too much meat on this motor. So if we lighten it up, it's going to be able to spin a little better. It's going to be able to save us some weight. It's going to cost us less on material over 100,000 engines, right? So that's when you see everything starts to get a little thinner, a little bit lighter, a little bit lightweight, and it's engineered just to what it's got to handle.
Right.
Right.
Yep. It happens with all of them.
So whereas the 2JZ came from the 80s and, had its roots in the 80s and makes 1,000 horsepower, the VR38, which is the GTR motor, the GTR motor now, really the rods, everybody's like 650 foot-pounds of torque. Don't go any more than that on that motor,
So, Marco, listen, so Don Somerton, he did call. He's playing golf. He tried to call, and he didn't have reception. But I said, call back, man. Do you know Marco? And he says, only for mythical legends and fairy tales. So
now he's Injector Dynamics, correct?
No. Don is the guy who owns the car that I went to Street Outlaws.
Oh, yeah,
with.
that's right. But who's the Injector Dynamics guy?
That's Paul Yaw and Tony Paulo.
Okay, gotcha. See, I apologize for those guys, but this is stuff, like I said, I left this. I mean, like, you want to talk about pro stock stuff? No problem. But comp eliminator? No problem.
Well, anyway, so, we got another, you want to check this caller? Because maybe they got a question for Marco.
Well, we don't have a call screener here, so there's a pretty good chance that, this could be abusive.
No, I think this is
get heckled. To be honest, I hope I get heckled.
Marco, this is he's calling from Florida, so I have a sneaky suspicion I know who this is.
Okay, hang on.
Okay, let's hear about it. Yeah, let's hear about it.
Caller, you're on with Marco.
Hey, it's Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
All right, a little more information.
Field Industries. What's up, Tom?
Hey, Mike Hummel, what's going on, man?
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. You got something for Marco?
Hello, Hummel.
That sounded like a Seinfeld episode.
Every year at PRI, I like to pinch his butt and run, so I figured, why the heck? I might as well call in for my first podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, well, he does that, and it's not even gay, really. No, not at all. It's in a loving manner that he does that.
Got it. So, how you doing, Michael?
Good, guys. Hey, I just wanted to give pay Marco a compliment because he does sound awful humble here tonight.
Go ahead, have at it.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I think that was it.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Marco is one of the guys that actually got me started in this business, and I've been around since 2002 or so. And he's one of those guys that he may keep his guard up at times and everything, but he's a really down-to-earth dude. He makes awesome parts. I've been buying from him for years and years, and so I just wanted to say congrats to him. And he's a great dude. So, and he should toot his own horn. He's really damn good at what he does.
Cool. Well,
thanks, Mike.
Doesn't get much better than that.
That's very kind. Yeah.
He'll get you back for that.
You owe me $20, Marco.
I knew it was coming.
Look at him PayPal it right now, buddy.
All right, Michael. Thank you for calling, and we'll be talking, I'm sure.
Later, guys.
Okay, bud.
See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
Wow, that was cool.
It's not bad. Yeah, no, Mike been dealing. Yeah, he's been in business for quite a while. Yeah, I remember when he used to call me at the beginning.
Yeah, me too. Actually, he was. I opened him up when he was still in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and he.
Yeah, that's right.
He put together a pretty big organization.
Yeah.
But
it's great. You know what? Now, just taking that phone call from that guy really, it almost makes me want to choke up inside and like snivel and cry. But I'm not going to, of course not, because
Well, you can. It's all right to show your emotions.
No, I have no.
I forgot about that. Damn it. All right, my bad. So back to GTR. I'm just curious, how much power do you guys figure that car made? When you were putting 720 hits on it.
Oh, according to fuel consumption and type of fuel, of course, and the data, it was in mile per hour and weight because we weighed the car right after the run.
Yep.
It's making exactly 2,460 horsepower.
Oof.
6 cylinders.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
My head can't do that. I just can't.
Yeah, I couldn't get my head around it either. I'm looking at the laptop and it starts spitting out the number, and I'm just like, "What? That's crazy!" But I'm doing the math on the weight. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is, right?
That's insane.
Impressive.
We actually had a question from a guy, Jeff Chang. He wants to know if your launch device works on a Subaru.
Yes. The launch control device works on any hydraulic clutch equipped car.
There you go, Jeff. Your answer from Power and Speed.
Marco, do you guys that car is all-wheel drive, right? Still, right?
Yes.
And you guys manage that, and that one of your specialties was the suspension end and the car working, correct?
Yeah. Well, yes. So I did. So Josh Ledford helped out with the suspension as well at first. Who's Red Hot Mafia, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he was they were there beforehand. So I just did some minor tweaks to get the all of that working. And of course, the hardest part is power management. And one of my specialties has been, because I owned an all-wheel drive car, and I've always raced an all-wheel drive car, and I've set up all-wheel drive cars. So that's like bizarre, for most people. All-wheel drive, how does that work? So I focused a lot on trying to get all-wheel drive cars to work. And when I got down there and I had a beautiful track and a car that was just working right, I was just knocking it off half a tenth at a time. I was knocking time off that car. There's no doubt in my mind that thing's gonna go way faster on the ET, but I just haven't had the exact opportunity to do it, because to be honest, the transmission struggle is real on that car. It's almost 2,500 horsepower that we're putting through a stock type transmission. You talk about pro stock cars. Every pro stock car's got a real transmission behind it, right? This thing, we're using something that came out of the box, out of the car, that we have to work around.
Stock case PPG gear set, right?
Yeah, PPG gear set, Dodson clutches, Shep Trans built the transmission.
Go Shep.
Go Shep. And then, it's a struggle because electronics and stuff like that. And the car's accelerating really fast, right? Which is what a lot of people don't understand. It's accelerating real fast, and it's got to be able to make that shift. Right, so this is something that everybody struggles with, which is a lot of what I had to Wayne and I had to figure out. Right, so
that is amazing that thing can handle that in a stock driveline configuration.
Yeah,
that is
you
crazy.
look at it, you guys go watch the runs. Right now, if you know anything about drag racing, this thing is shifting at the 30 foot. Okay. It's going into second. So just imagine if just think about that for a second, right?
So at the 30 foot, so you're shifting 0.4 into the run.
Yeah, go look and you'll see the marks it leaves. Go look at one of the videos, because the videos are in real good quality, right?
Yep.
If you go look at the videos, you'll see when the power comes off and when the power comes back on, right?
Wow.
Yeah, you think about that instantaneous of a shift, and I understand what he's saying now. The kind of essentially the timing, the span, like firing an injector. You're getting so limited in the window that you can shift. That's amazing. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why these guys are way smarter than us.
We're running into problems. You start running into problems that no one else has had, right? So, hey, it's the stuff you got to solve. But I love that kind of stuff. So that's why I go out to the track, and I'd love to dial in cars, and I set them up properly. So if you can see the runs from the beginning of the run till the end of the runs, till the last runs, you'll see the car has a little bit of a bounce, and then I just get it all out, and then the car just stays planted and stays down. Like making an IRS car work is difficult, but you want it to stay planted. So I've got the car staying completely planted, and that's when we start getting our best runs.
Yeah, I guess part of that too, being an independent suspension car, the way the power is delivered is crucial to keep the thing hooked.
Sure. It's got to be smooth. It can't bounce. Camber comes into play and all that nonsense. Yep. Wheels moving around in different planes. Jesus, it's a lot to think about. And if you knew Marco like I did, you just can't imagine that he could do all this.
Well, when you start looking at some of those pictures of that car launching, man, the wheels are pointing in all kinds of directions sometimes.
Yeah. It's crazy.
A customer wanted to know what its 60 foot is. I mean, a listener.
So the
Fuck's
best
wrong with
60 foot, the best 60 foot when I was there was a 1.23, and I think that was the best it did. But it averaged about a 1.24. So it was a 1.24, 1.25, and then 1.23 on its best run, on its best hits.
Which really, a big tire car with that kind of power could probably go like an 89 or a 90.
Yeah.
So it really goes to show you that they really have to not have a lot of power on the hit.
Yeah, it tells you what, based on how fast it goes and what it goes per mile an hour, it tells you how soft the launch has to be to get it to work.
Comparatively speaking, it is pretty soft for the power, but that thing really must freight train like 300 out.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You got to give it to Mo, the driver, Mo Z, man. You got to see one of the things with the GTR is there's these stock bolts that are in the steering column.
Yep.
So what happens is if you like hit a curb or something real hard, they're for crashing basically. So if the car crashes, the bolts will break out of the column and the column will fall on the driver's lap, right? So what happens is we hit the car so hard that the bolts came out. They were still the original bolts, right? And not everybody knows to replace these things. So the original bolts came out, and the guy's got the steering wheel on his fucking lap. And this guy is just going left to right. He's just ducking left to right. The guy still runs a 736.
So he completed the pass with the column falling out?
Yeah, the column's in his lap. He's holding the column in his lap, and he's like, oh, I'm on a hit. I'm going to stay on it. And he stays in it, and the fucking guy runs like the best pass, because we just kept resetting the record. So every time it was going faster and faster. So, and in Bahrain is an interesting thing. You can see your 60-foot. So as a driver, he can see his 60-foot, so he can stay on it. And then he saw his 8 mile, so he can stay on it.
So he knew.
He knew it was a good pass. Didn't matter what was falling off. He had to stay with it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's got... by second gear, the column's in his lap, and he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's like, why is the steering wheel so low? Right? He goes, oh, it still steers, right?
So he's the man. He's got some stones.
He sure does.
Oh, yeah. That guy got stones, man. He got stones. He's a good guy.
And it is a good time over there, isn't it?
Oh, man, the people are so cool. I mean, you've been to Dubai, right? And Dubai's more of a big city, hustle and bustle, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you go to Bahrain, and it's a lot more relaxed, and the people. Man, I honestly, I can't say more about it. I loved it there.
Yeah, I've been to Bahrain.
I really was honored. I really was honored to be able, like what kind of how do I say this? You get to go play with these amazing cars and set world records, man. That's pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very. It is. It's very fucking
know?
cool. Yep.
And we have another listener is asking about the dry sump setup specifically for the GTR, because Tom informed me about that. You have kind of a whole setup that goes directly in car, like it's a nice retrofit.
Right.
He's got the best
so
setup.
A lot of guys. Yeah. So we'd make a lot of so like I said before, I go to the track, I dial in a car, and then I find out basically I figure out what the car needs, right? So then I go back to the shop, and we got engineers that work here, and we got guys that we got a bunch of we've been doing CNC work for many years. We've been doing design and fabrication and all that stuff. So I'll come back to the shop and I'll be like, guys, we got to make this, right? It used to be just like, when I came to the shop and I said, guys, you got to make this, that'd be me, right? So then I would have to make it. So now I'm lucky enough to have a good crew of guys. So now, me and the team work together on it. So we'll design the parts that we need to overcome a problem. And that's pretty much always what it is. So the dry sump situation was, Tony put me onto it, because Tony's like, hey man, listen, my car's running out of oil. And Tony's car was going pretty fast at the time, and he's like, we're running right out of oil. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen, because that happens on all cars these days. And this is what a lot of guys don't realize. Every car that turns or accelerates hard, it's going to run out of oil, because cars are just fucked these days. They're too fucking fast, man.
Yeah.
They're just crazy fast.
Yep.
All right? Like, you go buy a set of R compound tires, and you go hang some corners at the local road course, and that thing's going to pull over 1 G, 1.2, 1.3 Gs I've seen sometimes. So if you're on a big sweeper, you're going to run your car out of oil. It's just all there is to it, right? So with my experience in the 46.3 stuff and all the other cars that I've done that with dry sumps and stuff like that, I've seen cars lose oil pressure all the time. And a lot of guys with their computers these days, man, they don't want to plug in a fucking oil pressure sensor because they're scared to see what their oil pressure is. Yeah, well, you just keep paying for it in motors, pal. You know what I mean? The dirt track guys have known this for years. If you don't have a dry sump, you're doomed right from the start, right?
Yeah, but the problem is it really doesn't matter, because they don't stop anyway. Everything just comes back in a box.
Yeah,
they're not smart enough to stop the thing when it's going to blow up.
Well, that's a driver situation right there. Drivers don't want to lose, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, the mechanic will scream and say, hey, don't blow my motor, or the team owner, don't blow my motor, but the driver's just going to...
He doesn't care.
Put to the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
There's another one somewhere.
For me to drive.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So anyway, Tony came to me, Tony from T1, and he said, yeah, we got to do something with the drive. So we sat down, and, we tried to find something that was going to fit, and it took us a long time to make it fit because we wanted to make it work with the AC, right? And we wanted to make it work with our optional mechanical fuel pump because I'm like, hey, these guys are going to try and make 1,500. At the time, it was like, these guys are going to try and make 1,500 horsepower. Let's get them a mechanical fuel pump so they don't have to mess around with electric pumps anymore. And let's keep the AC because these cars are still street cars. So let me just run this by you again, okay? We got 1,700 horsepower cars running on the street, mechanical fuel pump, dry sump, AC power windows, run bottom eights all day.
Crazy.
Does that make any sense to anybody? Yeah.
It's fast.
180 miles an hour in a GTR.
Yeah.
Like in a full body car with everything working, radio, full blast, Bluetooth headset, in your ear, right?
It's like magic. That's why I said before. Yeah, that's why I said before. 1,000 horsepower car is really like you can get laughed at.
Yeah.
Because everybody has 12, 13, 15. It's insane.
Right. So we made it so it would fit within the car. Like basically we thought at first, hey man, all the road racers are going to want these, right? Because there's going to be guys that are going to road race these cars, and every road racer knows you need the dry sump. Well, it kind of took off on the drag racing scene more than anything, right? And every really fast GTR out there, from like Tony's got one, AMS has got one, F Performance has one. All these guys run my dry sump, and
ETS.
I'm kind of lucky, but then again, we put in a lot of hard work to it, and we're always constantly updating it. So, like, I think, we're in like revision 3 now of the thing, and we're always updating it because we're always seeing where we can improve on this stuff, and that's what Magnus does. That's what my shop does. We're here to
make shit better.
Yeah, fix the problems. You look at shit, see what breaks, and fix it. Make it better.
Dude, that should be your new motto right now. Your new logo. Magnus. We make shit better. I think it's a winner.
I think it's a fucking winner. Can I use your mustache in that logo?
Fuck you, man. Come on. You know.
What do you mean?
Hey, do you guys make billet espresso mugs yet?
No, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, I know. First time I ever met this guy, we got in his Porsche and drove down the street and we had to have espresso because he's not jacked up enough. He's got to have like 8,000 more grams of caffeine in him till his eyes are bleeding. Well, and that's how you meet the guy.
Right, but you're Italian as well, so you're a Goomba like me. So
yeah.
You have to have espresso, right? When it's offered to you, right?
Forget about it. Yeah.
Right, forget about it. And I took you to that place down the street that's kind of shady, but not really that shady.
No, it was pretty shady. It was all right. I liked it.
They sell ice cream, and they make really good sandwiches, and they got espresso.
Yep.
There's a nice girl that serves it to you. Or was it Frank? Frank that served it.
It was Frank that served us. Yeah, I got fucked.
Yeah, Frank, yeah. Did he give you cut eye? Did he look at you like kind of sideways? Like, who is this guy?
No.
He would say, Mark, who is this guy? Is he one of us? Is he a friend? Is he one of ours?
Yeah. He's a friend of ours is the saying. Yeah, he's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
No, he knew I was okay because I was with you. We didn't have to sign in or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah. So what else you got going on? You got anything new coming down the horizon? Anything really cool?
Oh. Well, I've been traveling, a lot, as you know. Right?
Yes.
Tuning. Right? So...
yeah, you were just I see you're in Greece. I see you're in Panama.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I was on a pretty ambitious world tour. It was quite ambitious.
That's right, because I asked you to go to Dubai when I was out there because I thought that show that we were at would be cool for you, but you just couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know where I was at that time. So I went from Toronto, right, which is where my home base is. I'm in Canada, right? I went from Toronto to Manila, Philippines, which is like one of the craziest places I've ever been to in my life. I've never seen so many people in my life. Okay.
All right.
You ever seen 10 people riding a tricycle? Normal shit on the streets of Manila, bro. That's what it is. Okay, there's people that have their roosters like tied up on the street. So there's because cockfighting is a big thing over there, right? So I was negotiating with a guy trying to buy his rooster off him for $200.
I knew he'd be able to say cock at least once during the show. But go ahead.
Hey, listen, if you're gonna be in the country, you got to blend in, right? So everybody's got a fighting rooster. I want a fighting rooster. Right?
Okay. Carry on.
So anyway, okay, well, from Manila, my career ended fairly quickly in the cockfighting arena. So we tuned up a car over there that had one of our motors. That thing made 1,800 horsepower, and then from there I went over to Greece and in Athens, and I have a client of mine over there. He has a beautiful Supra, amazing car. That thing did like I think went 900 ponies on pump gas, and then from there I went back to Bahrain, and we did some more work on the GTR and tried to go out and smash some more records. And then from there I went to Panama and tuned a bunch of cars in Panama, and then from there I went home. So I literally did one lap.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Around the earth. Yeah, it was 21 days, man. It was pretty, I was like, well, what's the point of coming back? I'll just go and just hammer out this car I had to do because I've been putting them off. Well, I'll just go hammer out this guy. I've been putting him off. And then it just turned into like a almost month-long ordeal. But it was great. I'll be honest.
Are you still married?
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Wow. Your wife is a stud.
My wife used to be a consultant, okay? So she used to travel the world all the time, right? So it'd be me who was staying at home, and she's the one who I'd never see. So she's really got no problem with this right now. Otherwise, that'd be hypocritical of her, you know what I mean? So she doesn't handle anything.
Oh, so you're getting her back.
Part of that.
Nice guy.
I'm getting her back, yeah, but yeah, that was when we first got married, right?
Hey, so we've talked about Mitsubishi, we've talked about GTR, we've even talked about 2J, and there's actually a third guy here, Tad, who's our color guy.
Color, yeah.
Not colored, he's color. And he hasn't said 3 fucking words tonight, but anyway, he's a Subaru guy, so do you want to make fun of Subarus at all?
Oh, Jesus fucking. What a fucking... Okay, so how would you want me to do this? Do you just want me to be relentless and just tell you it's fucking garbage and it has pistons made out of chocolate?
Well, wait a minute. Wait. We have a lot of Subaru listeners, so can you be medium, Marco?
Yeah. No, listen, I don't really have that big of a problem with Subarus.
You just won't work on them?
That their whole motor needs a redesign. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I was into them for a while. Not long. I ain't going to tell you how long I was really into them for, but I was into them for like maybe a month. I was like, yeah, this is fucking Subaru, right? You know what I mean? Right? Like nobody knows this, but I got my start in rotaries, okay?
There you go.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not many people know. People do know because that's all I used to do was rotaries back in the day. So I've always had I guess I like punishment. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, you started off like in punishment anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I was into rotaries, and so I think the Subaru is the rotary of today. So, that's what I think. See, because they don't really make RX-7s anymore, and you really can't get a rotary anymore. But the rotary, I'd be replacing that fucking motor every weekend, and now with the Subaru, it's pretty much the same thing, right?
That's true. That's exactly true.
But Naney, see, I got to say this from his business motto: we make shit better. So he's saying there's a lot of room for improvement to make, or is it just a lost cause?
I don't think he wants to make that shit better.
Lost cause.
It's got from like, let's look at it from an engineering standpoint, okay? It's got a bore that's too big because they wanted some torque, okay? It's a 2.5, so they wanted to have a lot of torque. Fine, they put this monster bore in it. The bore's too big, and it's a boxer. The motor's too wide. They can't fit it behind those frame rails. The car's got to be 6 inches wider for them to put a bigger motor because they should put more stroke in it. You know what I mean? But they're not doing that. So they're just trying to, they're band-aiding a motor that should have had a clean sheet of paper a long time ago. But then again, it's hard to get away from something that you've been producing for 4 years as well, right?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And they like that whole center of gravity thing, and the car flies good in rally and stuff. But he's exactly right.
That's the best part about it, right? Because, hey, I hate, I can say I hate Subarus. I don't really hate Subarus. But let me say, I'm not a fan of the whole Subaru, but I fucking got a 911. You know what I mean? I'm into the boxer motors.
Same difference.
Right?
Yeah.
No, wait, I don't think that's same difference, Tad.
It's a boxer.
Okay, look, yeah, okay, the pistons are pointed opposite directions. I don't think in any planet you can compare a Subaru to a Porsche. Come on, dude.
No, you can't.
I think he's right,
But
Tad.
listen, a Subaru started out as a 1.4 or 1.6 liter motor, that EJ, right? It started out as a 1.6, and now it's ballooned to a 2.5.
Well, it started out as a 2-stroke, didn't they? Way back when?
I don't know about that. Did it?
The 360. Isn't that thing a 2-stroke?
Okay. It was a 2-stroke?
Yeah, I think so.
Did it have the same...
This guy,
dimension.
our guy is a Subaru. I don't even know the adjective to use, but if he says it's 2-stroke, it probably is, and he probably owns one.
No.
I was going with retard.
I figured.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're
6 on a Subaru. But hey,
you are exactly right though. So what they did was they took bore out of them. They made it 86, and they put stroke in it, and it's 86, and now they couldn't fit the rod in the hole, so they canted the rod 40 degrees, like a Cummins rod, And he's right. They should have just got a clean sheet of paper, but they got so much invested in that thing, just from the engineering of the whole car around it. I guess they're kind of fucked a little bit.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second, right? Why is a Subaru, $30,000 or whatever for an STI, but an Evo, the same Evo, optioned out the same way, you're talking 40 plus, 45 Gs or something. I mean, they don't even make the Evo anymore. Well, I'll tell you why. Because a Subaru STI and a WRX share all the same parts, and they're almost all the same parts, and they're a lot closer to each other than an Evo is from a Lancer. An Evo has nothing to do with a Lancer. The only thing they share is the fucking trunk and the front doors. Everything else is different, and it's built. I think it's even built on a different assembly line. Whereas a Subaru, right, where the STI is built on the same assembly line as all the WRXs and this and that, and they all share parts and interchangeability. That's why they can make a Subaru and sell it for $30,000. And everybody wants to have one because it's a great deal, and it's a good car for the money. It's a great car.
Yeah, it definitely is, and that platform deal is true. I mean, it's Forester and everything. Forester, WRX, STI, they're all in the same deal.
And the car handles good, and it drives nice. And you go get into an Evo, and that thing's a fucking race car. Who wants to drive that? I can't even fit anything in the trunk because they had to put the battery in the trunk to change the center of gravity and this and that, and the shocks are like 10 feet high. Man, I got to tell you, I hate my Evo 10. I hate it.
Do you have a stick shift one or the automatic one?
I got that floppy paddle thing.
I heard that shit's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool for a little while until the thing starts breaking on you. Then you don't want to deal with it anymore,
Are they shit?
Well, fucking listen, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, the Evo, like I've driven the Evo, I've driven the Subaru, and I like to turn corners and stuff like that too, which most people don't know, right? But I drive like a fucking asshole on the racetrack sometimes when I have to, or when I have somebody else's car. And so the Subaru's okay, but you can really make an Evo dance around corners, right? And the MR was really an amazing car for the racetrack, But, it just kind of got left behind with the transmission stuff, and plus the fact that the car was that much more money than the Subaru, and they didn't sell any because it just didn't sell any, and then so you just don't have the market support for the Evo 10, right?
It's kind of a shame too, because at the Subaru versus Evo events, the Evo guys like literally raped Subarus. Pretty much all the time.
It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Like you'll never see an Evo anywhere in the Quick 16.
Or those were the guys that were shifting okay versus the guys that were not?
Probably.
God.
Right.
Well, that was a circus.
Yeah. You'll never see a Subaru win, man. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen.
Well, actually, I got to tell you, my guys at IAG, they got some stuff turned around. They're making some really good, reliable power up around the 1,000 number. Fairly reliable at 1,000.
And they're getting there now. Yeah, they're getting there now. But let me tell you a little story. Okay. Go. We've been making 1,400 fucking horsepower out of the 4G63 since Brent's car in 2001 or whatever it was.
All right, don't hate. Stop hating.
Right? So that same iron block, 4G63 that had that pent-roof combustion chamber with the quench pads in it, that was just, the thing, it didn't matter what we did to it. Like the thing just made power. Oh, you want to put more boost to it? No problem. Like people didn't believe us before. Like, how much boost you running? I tell them, we're running 70 pounds of boost. They're like, no, that's not possible. You're a liar. Okay. So then I never told anybody when Brent's car was running 100 pounds of boost. Why would I tell them for? They're just going to call me a liar anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But nowadays, it's no problem, right?
Yeah. Yep.
No?
You guys always had Al back then too, so.
Al.
Oh yeah, he started out as Subaru and then he went to Evos and.
Fuck is Al? Tell us who Al is, Mark.
God. Jesus.
We must have hit on something good, man.
You got to see the guy's videos, man. But anyway.
Man. Listen, hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy, Al.
Who's Al? I don't even know who Al is.
I can't remember his last name now.
Google it.
All right, I will. After the show, I'll Google it, and we'll talk tomorrow or something.
You got to see his videos on YouTube. It's ridiculous.
I have to give it to Tad. He actually brought something to the show.
Yeah, you did, Tad.
Round of applause for Tad. Thank you, Tad.
Well done. Well
played.
So I'm going to have to go look up this Al guy.
Oh, yeah, you will.
We will.
You'll laugh your ass.
Tad, put something on the page so everybody else that doesn't know who Al is can
try
look
find
at
Al's
this.
videos.
All right, so Marco, I did ask you if you got anything new coming down the pike, and we got off into another direction. You got anything?
Oh, yeah. Do I got anything new? Shit, what am I working on?
You don't have to have something new. Don't kill yourself. I mean, if you don't, you
Well,
don't.
we do. I'm always working on new stuff though. But what's coming down the pipe? Like, so I'm just finishing off a little revision to the dry sump for the GTR. We just finished another major revision to the Evo dry sump. Now we just released a V4 intake manifold, for the older DSM, for the second generation cylinder head, because everybody was screaming for it, and I've been putting it off for years, and I had the design already done. I'm just like, okay, let's just do it. So we did it. That was actually very cool, because I told the community, the Mitsubishi community, I'm like, listen guys, I've had this thing designed for 3 years, and I had done all the modeling and the CFD on it, and the thing was a winner. It was a winner, on paper, in a model, on the computer. But all of the computer simulations that we've done with the intake manifolds, everything always panned out. So of the two intake manifolds we had already done before, and some other ones we've done for other companies, we're making power, and we know when it's going to make power. So if it shows on the computer, it's going to make it in real life, right? So I was 100% sure this thing was going to win, and it was really similar to my other one. So I'm just like, I went to the community and I said, listen guys, I have this thing. I know you guys are clamoring for it. Well, actually, one guy, he went and told the community. Okay, sorry, right? And
That's really not clamoring, but go ahead.
Well, no, he goes. Listen, these guys are asking. Well, he said these guys are asking for it, right? I go, well, listen, you get me 10 solid orders, and then I'll make this thing. Well, the guy got me the 10 orders, and then we made it, and then I got it out there. Then eventually, I got this part that I filled a gap that I've always wanted to finish for the Mitsubishi guys. And it's kind of a stupid thing. I don't know why I do it, but I got this fucking soft spot for Mitsubishis, and I don't know why, but I want to finish. I want to make every fucking stupid hardcore part that has to be made for that car. And I got 2 or 3 more to go, and then I could just fucking close the catalog. And
Wow.
I'm done.
So you're doing it though. You're finishing it.
Oh, I'm finishing it, man. I'm finishing that project. That's it's fucking been a 20-year project, man. What do you mean? I gotta finish it now, right?
Well, it says 15 on your website. But whatever.
Yeah, I know, but that just shows you how often anybody goes on that website.
Now,
All right, well, that's good. You'll put a period on it. That's all.
being a Mitsu Challenge guy here, the Evo's done.
Yep.
Not making it anymore. Is there anything that bridges? Is there anything coming? Or no, that's it.
I don't know.
No, but there's a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
And the motor, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a swap motor too. I mean, they put them in dragsters. They put them in, it's like a 2J, only with 2 cylinders. It really is, with 2 less cylinders, so it's easier to package into something. Don't they put them in Hondas and all kind of stuff occasionally?
They put them in everything.
Mazdas.
So it's
that's
become
right.
like the small block Chevrolet of the import world.
Yeah, the Chrysler front wheel drive stuff.
Actually, Keith from Turbo Tricks had that beautiful, that was a Mazda. Was that an RX?
Yeah, it was an RX-7. He took the, and I have one of those cars, but he took the piece of shit rotary out and put the piece of shit 4G63 in it.
That car was really well done.
I remember them building that
It was
there.
really nice.
That was a nice car.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Made 700 wheel. It was a good driver. And that was a nice piece.
Now, some of the Subaru guys are saying that, well, that particular Mitsubishi motor's been around longer. That's what they're saying. I don't.
Yeah, well, that Mitsubishi motor's been around since '78.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was in. Hold on a minute, Ted.
Yeah.
Was that in that retard that used to come to the shop? What was his name? The guy that flossed with his pubic hair.
Oh,
What?
No, it's
How
long.
does,
Yeah, with the
how
front-
does that even come up?
with that front wheel drive thing or whatever the hell.
If you had a guy that would tell you that he'd floss with his pubic hair, isn't that something that would stick in your head? How you always identified a guy? I can't think about the guy without him saying that.
But you let him in your shop.
Well, I didn't let him in. It was a public place, and he could walk in the front door. That's how he got there.
What do you mean public? You owned it.
I know, but
Once the guy said that, he said, "Get the fuck out of here."
I had already known him for a little bit then. But he was
So you're friends with the guy that flosses with his pubic hair.
not particularly.
didn't he make his own boosted
right, we are-
performance or something?
This guy,
off the rails
hold on,
right
this
now.
guy's name was Dave Morgan, and he was
Now he's famous.
He used to talk about some guy Busher or something.
Oh no!
yeah.
Oh no! You didn't say Busher.
Use the
Listen,
B word.
No, you got to stop,
Oh my god!
Marco. I never expected. I couldn't foresee that.
listen.
I'm sorry.
Hold on a minute here. Let me. No,
You fucked up, man. You might get fired tonight.
yeah. Okay. Listen. Here's how I know. Okay, look. This guy had boosted performance. Okay.
Yep.
He lived at his mom's house and had a Mitsubishi. Some Diamond Star motor thing, and he's they got fish tank valves and all kinds. And I mean, he was not a guy. You know what I mean?
And remember, avgas, always avgas.
Yeah, he would be the guy, and he used to drive around with like English Town writing on his car like he just came back from the track. He was a strange cat. But his enemy was this other guy. And that's how I know the name, the Busher guy. That's how I know. I mean, you're
going back, man. You're talking about the feud between Busher Racing and Sean Glazer.
Look, Jeff Hester. Hold on. Jeff Hester, who used to hang around the old shop. He's the guy now with the SS who was here last week.
Yep.
He remembers him. He had a front wheel drive Laser. Yes.
Was his name Glazer?
No, his Dave Morgan. I'm telling you.
He had that accident. He had the money, and then he changed.
Strange cat. Very strange.
So who's
cat.
the Glazer guy that had it out with DB?
Oh, this is going back, man. So the Glazer used to own Extreme. I mean, I don't know. In the 90s, everybody was named Extreme, weren't they?
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. So was it Extreme Motorsports?
I don't know. I don't remember it, and I can't talk.
You don't remember? He had the white one. He had the white Talon, and it was, man. You know, the thing was fast, right?
Yeah, I remember it, but I can't get involved in this this feud.
Anyway, it was nothing. They used to just go back and forth on the internet. They were like the originators of like the internet fucking shitstorm before there were forums. There used to be oh man, this just shows how fucking old I am. All right, there was a mailing list. All right, there was the DSM mailing list, and this is how all the Mitsubishi nerds, including myself, got together. This is how you all met? You went on the mailing list, and you sent an email in response to what someone else. Some guy would compile it and he'd put it all together. I think the guy's name was Todd, and the guy would put the whole list together, and so he put all the emails on, and then people would have these like wars going back and forth, but you had to wait a day, so it wasn't like a forum where you can get instant gratification on a forum, right? So you had to actually wait a day, and the responses were actually, pretty well written because people cared about their grammar. But,
so that that's funny. So that was trolling before trolling was trolling.
Yeah, but it got ugly and stuff, and everybody threatened to fight each other. Nothing new. It's the same stuff, really, same shit that happens today, right?
Apparently, some of these people on the forum know this boosted performance Dave Morgan guy I'm talking about. It's kind of comical.
We might have we might have to have another Marco show really quick because I can't believe how many listeners are on right now.
Really? I can't believe I can pull a crowd. I can pull a crowd? This is fucking crazy.
Dude, we got 50 people listening live.
And that sounds like anybody who's listening say, well, that's kind of stupid. What kind of radio show are you? We're not
a radio show. It's a podcast.
So this is actually pretty nice to say.
To have 50 people, it's insane. And it's all because of...
We could ram a place. We should open up a club. Huh?
Yeah, we should. And we could pay him in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin. That's where it's at.
I know.
All right, this guy that knows you, his name's John. Things are going by so fast. John Hendel, I think is what it said.
Hendel. Oh, fucking Hendel. There, he's from Jersey. He knows all these guys.
Yes, and he's the guy that wrote in. Don't even get me started on that guy, Boosted. So he remembers it. See, I had to think about that when he started talking about these particular generations. When he said it goes back that far, that's what that retard Dave was always messing with. That stupid Laser. That's what that was.
Oh, he even had a fucking laser?
Yeah.
He didn't have a Mitsubishi or a Talon, he had a laser?
It was a front wheel drive Laser.
Is that the Dodge version of it?
Laser guys.
Yeah.
There was the Plymouth. It was a Plymouth.
Yeah. It was a Dodge version. Yeah.
Man.
That's right. It was a Plymouth. Jesus.
God, I hope somebody finds him on the internet and gets us to him.
Marco, who's Tony Rodo?
Oh, that's Tony. He's my buddy from Montreal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Hey, Tony's got a motherfucking fast RX-7 with a rotary in it. Tony's legit. Yeah.
Well, he just said you're the king, so. So I guess you are.
Tony's the king.
And
Tony's the king. He always makes sure I have a good time when I go to Montreal. Always.
Yeah, like you have a rough time having a good time anywhere.
No, I don't have a rough time.
We should tell the you and Mark French story in Las Vegas.
Oh, that was a good one too. Is that when he called my shop at 9 a.m. and placed an order for 50 intake manifolds, and then somebody at the shop actually took him serious?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody is saying I have to ask you about Spiro in Greece from Extreme Tuners.
Oh, Spiro's in Greece. Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's talk about this fucking guy. Spiros. Okay, what do I know? Listen, I went to Greece. Not too long ago, right? I've been twice. All the things I was hearing about Greece, and everybody was saying all these things about Greece, that it was like where this guy made this magical horsepower and all this fucking bullshit, and this fucking car was powered by, unicorn connecting rods and shit like that. Anyway, this fucking guy, I get to Greece, the second I land and I start meeting up with you meet up with all these car guys, so everybody's in the cars. the first thing they do is, I swear to God, I was there for 2 days, and not 5 minutes didn't go by that I didn't hear a Spiros joke. Everybody was just tooling on this guy. Everybody. So, I mean, I don't know if you know about this guy, but he goes on the internet and he says that he makes 2,500 horsepower. He's got an 80 millimeter turbo. It just doesn't.
Yeah. None of the math works, but
nothing that could.
The math works. He says he's got 17-to-1 compression and a 4.63. You can't do that. You can't do that unless your dome volume would go past your fucking combustion chamber. Right? It would go past the cylinder head. It just doesn't happen, right? So he's living in the fourth dimension. We, unfortunately, us peasants have to live here in the third dimension, right? So, man, there was nothing but tooling on this guy while I was there. So I realized that he's not the kind of person that anybody wants to take seriously. But let me tell you this about Greece. Greece has some of the most fucking amazing fabricators and cool guys I have ever met in my fucking life. I'll tell you a story about a car I saw there. This one blew my fucking mind, okay? It was a Nissan Sunny. So that's like a Sentra or a GTR.
Yep.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay, it's just like like a kind of commuter car, but they came with like turbo SR20s in Japan and Europe and this and that. So people start, they put SR20s in them. So one guy's not happy to have an SR20 in the front of it. So I go to this guy's shop. So he's got this thing on a rotisserie, sideways on a rotisserie. And I walk in, and it was just an unassuming car, and I look underneath it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, right? So I'm looking at it. I'm like, whoa, the fucking motor is going north-south, right? Okay, that's strange, right? And then wait a minute. It's got a rear end in it. So this thing had the motor going north-south. Okay, he made a billet oil pan and a billet adapter plate, attached it to a 6-speed sequential Samsonite transmission, which is about 20 Gs, right? Then it goes back to an R32 GTR transfer case, okay? And then the transfer case connects to the rear end. It's got an independent suspension and a rear end out of a Nissan Z32, so the 300 ZX, sorry for you Americans, right?
Yep.
And then the drive shaft goes back to the front to a Nissan Q50 front diff, so it looks like a GTR front diff. And this was all hand built by this guy, and I'm talking utmost quality fabrication in a fucking Nissan, an unassuming car, right? Yeah. So those guys. Don't look at what that other guy does. What that guy Spiros does. Don't make him. Don't judge that country by what that guy does, because he's the guy that apparently is famous in the circles. There's other guys there that are building amazing shit.
Yeah, there's people from Greece that we want to talk to. The guys from what's it called? The cylinder pressure guys. Damn it!
Oh yeah.
Why did my brain shut off? Crap.
Yeah, the guys from Flex Tuning.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too. Yeah, I went to go see them when I was there. Man, those guys are amazing. Those guys are super cool.
Yeah, and it's been a little bit of scheduling. We've gone back and forth in a few emails, but that's a show that I'm really looking forward to, because I think what they can do is amazing.
And I went to their shop, and they make all that stuff there in house. They make everything down on circuit boards right there.
Wow.
Believe it. Yeah. So, and another thing, a lot of things that you hear about in the news, you hear like, oh, Greece is in trouble, Greece is having problems and that. Man, don't listen to the fucking news, right? This is why I travel, right? So I want to go see it for myself. And man, they're doing, things aren't the best over there, but they're doing fine. And a lot of those people, like these guys, they persevere, and you get a quality product like that Plex Dash that's coming out of Greece.
I'm debating as to whether to ask you about this or not. Ask Marco about the 2005 DSM shootout and doing burnouts in the Eco Lodge room. Econo Lodge room.
Yeah, so that's been videotaped. Okay, so that video exists on the internet. All right, so I know Tom, Junior, of course, right?
Yeah.
JR Tuned. You guys both know Junior, right?
Tad's got a man crush on him. Yeah.
Yes.
Junior.
Really? Do you have a man crush on him? Here, let me send a shout out to Junior. Junior, you're a piece of shit. So Junior and Bean, right? Walter. Right?
Walter. Yeah.
Yeah. Bean were sleeping in the Econo Lodge room, and then it was French and Jeff Hill were outside, and we were partaking. We were having a couple of drinks out at this dump of a hotel we stay at, which I can't stay at anymore. But when you're in your 20s, you can stay there.
Yep.
So I had this piece of shit fucking scooter. I had some scooter, and I'm like, French, where's Bean and where's Bean and Junior? Oh, they're in their room sleeping. I go, let me in their room. And he goes, what are you gonna do? Just let me in their room. So Mark just opens the door, right? And I just slide in with a scooter, and it's a 2-stroke, and it's got way too much oil, and I'm just sitting there, and the TV, obviously the TV is still on, right? And these two guys are in bed, and I get in there, I turn the thing around, and I just fucking open the throttle. So all you hear is, right? You know what I mean? And the room is just filling up with 2-stroke smoke, right?
Oh my God.
And the light is coming from the television. So you see, the first thing I see is I see Junior get up and just clutching his heart in fear, right? You know, he thinks there's a guy in the room with a chainsaw, right? And Bean just lifts up his head, looks at me, puts his head back on the pillow, and puts the other pillow on his head, and just goes back to sleep. I let it rip out of there and tore a bit of the carpet off.
And it's on video.
Yeah.
All right, Ted.
Yeah,
you got to find this too, because that's your hero, Junior.
Well, I knew there'd be legendary stories here. I knew it.
There's always got to be a good story. I got one on everyone, really, except for Tom. Tom, you're too good.
I think you had the mustache picture. I think that's pretty good. That's going to live on for a while.
It will.
That's fine.
Will. He's never done anything bad with that yet, but he will. That's why I constantly have to be nice to him, because I'm living in fear.
It will most definitely be on Facebook.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Oh, it's been already.
Okay. All right.
Oh, it's already there. Yeah, it's already there.
It's been there. Yep.
It's great.
All right. Well, we are pretty close to out of time. This has been exciting. Having you,
Very
obviously, you've been fun. We're gonna have to do this again. Michael, you got any last questions?
No, because I don't have a lot for this. I mean, I'm glad I brought up the boosted and busher thing, because I mean that seemed to get a laugh.
I totally forgot about that boosted.
I completely forgot about it until he said. I think he specifically said DSM, because that's what boosted Dave used to say.
About,
my DSM, and I'm like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
So
I remember when people first started saying DSM, it was foreign to me as well. I'm like, what does that mean? I thought it was just an eagle.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're a domestic, V8 shop, and here's this, knucklehead, with all this stuff.
Well, remember I had my CRX with the nitrous, and he's sitting there, you can't have it. It's got a stock exhaust. It can't be. You're going to need a bigger exhaust. Oh,
thank you, Todd.
It was,
Thank you for adding
that. Was boosted. I'm telling you.
Okay. No, I mean, this has been a lot of fun, and I can't imagine you on espresso, Marco. I can't.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's about that time. I should go have another one.
Can we do this again sometime?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Of course.
Well, we might Al to get on another line.
Yeah,
Maybe
but I
can
want
find
Jay
him.
to call in next time.
Who?
Jay. I want Jay to call in.
I thought actually when Hummel called in, I thought it was Jay. I'll talk to.
I thought it was too. I was kind of excited.
I'll talk to Jay. Maybe we can get both of you guys on, and you could. We wouldn't even have to talk. I mean, we could just sit there.
First, why don't you put Jay on and I'll call in?
Oh,
there you go.
I don't know if I like Jay. I don't know if I could do that to him. Although he might be able to hold his own with you, dude.
Yeah, he's actually very witty.
He is witty. He's very witty. But that would be a good one. Well, again, man, thank you for the short notice, although I've been talking to you about this for fucking 6 months.
Well, I mean, I know that a lot of people wanted him to come on. And every week I'm like, dude, what about this guy? What about this guy? And you're like, I just got to work it all out. I mean, it's just, it's how we do things.
Who canceled? Come on, tell me the truth. Who canceled?
Nobody canceled.
Swear to God.
Nobody canceled.
Man, come on, seriously.
No, the problem is
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, don't pick. I'm feeling the burn. Don't pick on the burn. The problem is we didn't have enough organization moving forward. Looking back, we were always organizing a guest on Friday, Sunday, one of the, somewhere in the weekend.
We suck, in other words.
Yeah, a lot of times it came down to Monday. So now we actually we put a calendar in place like 2 weeks ago to start making phone calls and lining up guests, and now we finally have some people. So we moving forward, there won't be like last minute phone calls. So whenever you want to come back on, you just let us know, and we'll make room.
No,
and I'm going to go to Bahrain with you next time you go, I think, if I can invite myself.
I'm sure they would be happy to have you there, man, honestly.
Yeah, well, I would like to do that. All right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, well, again, dude, you've been great. You obviously can talk to a crowd. And,
yeah, for sure.
And we enjoyed having you, and hopefully we will do it again.
Okay. Well, when you better come visit soon. Okay. All right?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but we'll talk about that off the phone because that entails
All right.
different shit, as you know.
All right. Very good.
Mustache.
All right. Thanks for having
All
me,
right.
guys.
See
All
ya.
right, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Back to you later.
Later.
That guy is wound up.
He's awesome.
Oh,
I
keep
feel
him running.
bad because like all the Mitsubishi stuff, if it wasn't for, the DSM stuff with that guy Dave, I wouldn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
It was like I said, when I stopped doing the motor side of things, like Manley had just picked up on the import stuff.
Yep.
And like to us, we were holding up a cross.
Well, when I talked to you about the Honda stuff, you're like, I don't like the numbers of those motors. I don't want to know about them.
I don't want to know about it. So
Still doesn't want to know about him.
very true. All right, Tad, you actually made a contribution today.
You did.
I appreciate that.
Actually got him laughing harder than anybody else did.
Dino Flash is worth it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Alan had to eat his words. You said more than 11 words today. So
Oh, I wish Alan was listening. Did I say he was a failure at all?
no, cornerstone.
Cornerstone?
All right, well, I guess that's it. Well, this was a fun show.
Hell yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, he is a good guest.
I knew he would.
And you said there's so much more stuff that we can't talk
Oh
about.
my God. Well, you and I'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely be back next week. I believe we're going to try to have Tommy Martino on next week
Yep.
for Monday.
Good.
So check us out then.
Thanks, everybody.